21 babies. The youngest, like I say, is Joy. She is about 7 months old. And then the oldest, her name is Bokamoso. She's not here because they don't get to come for these interactions, but she's out there. And she's the oldest, and she's the matriarch for this head. And she's 3 years, 9 months.
So what happens after they graduate?
So maybe just to give you what we do in a nutshell. You know, Elephant Havens, it's a non-profit making organization and also a conservation trust. And we registered Elephant Havens late 2017, and it took me the whole year to convince the government to give me the approval. And that's mainly because this is the only and the first elephant orphanage in Botswana. So there were no guidelines, so I had to write down a management plan and have it approved by the Department of Wildlife and Ministry of Tourism. And on the 18th of December 2018, I got a call from the Director of Wildlife that the permit was ready. And 2 days later, we were called for a baby elephant up in the Panhandle. So we started working from 2019. And our mission is to protect and preserve the African elephant through community outreach, research and information sharing, habitat protection, as well as hand-raising of these orphaned elephants, with the mission to keep them here until they are 5 years. Then they graduate from the orphanage to the soft release area, which is 10 kilometers north of here. And the area, it's a great elephant habitat. And once they are there, they lose their names. There's zero human contact. So we just let them be elephants and let them to learn to be more independent before we can finally release them back to the wild. And at the moment, we have 10 elephants in the soft release, and they'll be going in 2 years.
I said, let me give you a whole bottle.
At 10 years. So they are here until they are 5 years, and then we take them across to the soft release area where they stay for another 5 years, and then we fit them with the satellite collar and release them in the Okavango Delta. And after release, they still remain our responsibility for another 10 years of monitoring them and making sure they don't go back to communities, to safari camps where there can be a human-elephant conflict. So it's a 20-year commitment to look after these youngsters.
How many years did you start with when you started this project?
Well, we started from, like I said, we got approved on the 18th of December 2018, and then 2 days later we were called for our first elephant. Her name was Mamotsi, and she's now in the soft release area. And it also depends what times of the year when we get more calls for these babies. You know, usually it's between August and November. That is when it's really dry, no rain, food are scarce, and you know, the young mothers, they have no experience to keep their babies when they have to travel for long distances to find water and food. So they don't sacrifice to stay with the babies when they're tired. And then, you know, they go into cattle farms where they're looking for water, and farmers will be shooting. So that is the time when we rescue a lot of elephants.
I'm curious, why elephants?
Well, I mean, I'm a third generation of elephant handling. My grandfather and my father were both elephant handlers, and I had also worked with elephants for 14 years before starting elephant handlers. So I've always been very passionate and curious about elephants and wanting to learn more about them, and also give the Botswana community an opportunity to learn more about them, and to also have them give back to the community, so that we don't look at them as trouble animals, as we know. So every donation that we raise here, we make sure it goes back to the community. We've donned wells for 4 different communities. We've bought school buses that we use for Matsaudi Primary School and for Shalom Primary School. We've donated about 287 wheelchairs to the big hospital here in Maun. We've empowered 5 women to start their own business, where we brought in an artisan to come and train them to learn how to make an elephant dung paper. And they've taken the opportunity and run away with it. We've employed about 52 staff members, 52 staff members, and they're all from the community. And we've refurbished the entire Shorebe Primary School, where we took down the entire ceiling in the whole school, including the administration block, and replaced it with new ceiling. And the problem was because the bats were roosting in the ceiling, and we closed all the access holes. We drilled a well for the school, and we built bridges that links the Mount community and the Ritsiping, Downara, and Mintsa area. So the idea is to raise these elephants, give them a second chance to live, also educate the local communities. We bring in school kids for educational purposes, and just make sure that our community benefits from these elephants, because in most cases, in rural areas like this, you don't get people that are literate. They usually illiterate, and they don't understand that these roads, free education, free health cares, some of the money comes from the tourism industry and conservation. So they want something that's tangible, something that make a difference in their life immediately. So that's why we make sure that everything or every donation that we raise here goes back to the community.
Yes. Maybe let's talk about your time. What's going on there?
So we have 2 time slots where people can come and interact with the babies on a daily basis, including weekends and holidays. We are open from 9 to 10 in the morning and 4 to 5 in the afternoon. And we also don't want people to come here, have the interaction and don't feel part of it. So there is a donation that someone has to leave when they come here. So for a citizen of Botswana, local Botswana, we ask for a minimum donation of 300 pula, and for an international tourist we ask for a minimum donation of 1,400 pula. So and that money goes a long way. It doesn't just end here with the elephants. It goes to the community. It goes to the staff that we've employed that are coming from the community. You can also do a private visit if you want to have more experience, a longer experience with the elephants, and be able to give them a bottle of milk, be able to see them play in the mud or swim. And that is 3,500 pula for citizens, and then 5,000 pula for internationals.
Maybe the last one, have you ever had an incident of wildlife here or outside?
Yes, I mean not necessarily here at Elephant Havens, but in the community where we are. When we first came here, we used to hear gunshot almost every day, and I would go out and follow up what was that about, and there's an elephant that has been shot and injured, or we've had people killed by elephants, or hippos. The babies that we have here. No, our training is positive reinforcement, so it's a rewarding system. So when you train elephants, it's like training dogs. So they always want to do something good to impress you, so that they get food in return. So they are food oriented animals. Yeah. Sure, yeah. So here we have Nonani, and Nonani basically there's food that we So Nonani, she is a year and a half from the panhandle of Okavango. From the panhandle of the Okavango Delta, and so she got the name Nonani from, when they arrive here, they all have a record sheet. So this is not all of our elephants. We still have others that are out there that they don't get to come here because they're a little bigger, and there's also no space for them to be. So we bring the youngsters and leave the bigger babies behind.